everyone, welcome to Metafluence AMA session. I'm Nazrin, Head of Communications at Metafluence. It's my utmost pleasure to see all of you here. Thank you a lot for joining us. We highly appreciate your support. Before starting, I would like to introduce you our speakers. So Elvin, he is our CEO and co-founder. Emin, he is our CMO and co-founder. And Fuad is our CFO. So today we'll be answering the questions coming from our community. Actually, we already have picked some of them, and the others will be picked from the YouTube live chat below. So be active and don't forget to ask your questions. Elvin, I believe the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nazrin. Thanks a lot. So I would like to start by giving some sort of quick updates regarding the project development, and then I think we can then dive into the questions. So basically, so as you already know, we already launched our staking, and if you do have actually a question regarding staking, which we'll be answering in just a bit. And then I would like to also mention that we actually have started our private sale for our land plots and meta huts. And regarding that, we actually shared the city map of the Metafluence city, and I believe you already saw it on our Twitter. I would like to also share it right now to maybe give you a bit more information. So let me try to share the screen. Let me see. Okay. Okay, I believe you're seeing my screen. So basically, this is going to be the city center. So basically the Metafluence city center. And then we will be actually selling land plots and meta huts related to these black areas as a part of our private land sale. And then basically the process of the land sale is going to go like this. So there is going to be a private sale of the land plots and meta huts. And then later on, there is going to be a launchpad sale on multiple launchpads. And then there is going to be basically a public sale on our own platform. So that's the plan. And in this city, actually, so right now we can basically zoom in. So this is a picture, but it's going to be an interactive map where you can, again, zoom in, select different land plots and meta huts, and you can basically purchase them if you like to. Depending on wherever you zoom in and whatever are your preferences based on the location of the land plots, you'll be able to basically purchase them on our own platform. And then aside from that, just to give you more updates, we'll be having we are already working on avatars as well, so just to make the experience more interesting. And then our MVP will be coming somewhere in June. So that is where you will be actually able to select different influencer meta huts on the map, zoom in, and then actually go inside and explore these meta huts in 3D. So that is so basically just to let you know. So everything is as planned. Based on our roadmap, so we are sticking to our roadmap, which is good news. So that's sort of a quick, I would say, quick update regarding developments. And obviously, there are a lot of things that is going on behind the scenes, such as different sort of partnerships and different sort of development. But this is just to kind of summarize everything. So yeah, I think we can go ahead and explore some of the questions that we received from the community. So Nazrin, if you could share some of these questions, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Elvin, a lot for the update.
Sure.
And now it's time to dive into the questions. So I'm going to start with the first question. And the question is, will you burn meta tokens in the future?
So this is the question that actually gets asked a lot. And we did already actually answer this question, I think, a couple of times, but I would like to also once again answer this question. So when it comes to burning tokens, so we are actually not in favor of this part. What we think is once you start burning your token, it kind of feels like you're not appreciating your own token. And some of the projects, they do it just to kind of increase the price in the short term. But in the long term, this doesn't look to be a sort of sustainable strategy because there will be only 5 billion meta available, right? And once you start burning that, you're basically sort of signaling that your token doesn't have much of the value. And also, this is something that is dependent on the actual token economy within the ecosystem, right? So in our case, what we're trying to achieve is to build a sort of sustainable token circulation within Metafluence ecosystem where it's going to be, it's going to be more like a sustainable approach where you don't have to burn tokens because there is an actual use case for the token. But uh, depending on the needs, depending on the circumstances associated with the actual token economy, uh, this is something we may explore in the future because, again, it may depend on the actual conditions that are related to the actual token economy. But as of now, we are not exploring that option, but it could be an option in the future. So these are my personal thoughts. I don't know, maybe Fuad, as CEO for maybe he wants to, add a couple comments.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, you already explained there are different reasons why some would burn it, but I think what we do believe is that there's other ways which we stick to and how we will believe that the meta price will increase. By artificially trying to inflate it right now, it will only play short term, as Elvin mentioned. Our long-term strategy is like work on our product, and once the utilization will be obvious within the ecosystem, the price will follow. So right now, we're focusing on the product, on our strategy. We'll share with you some other things about that. How, for example, you can earn on the meta through staking and other investments. So I join what Elvin mentioned, and I think for now it's we may hear these questions from time to time, but the answer is the same. Thank you.
Thank you a lot, Elvin and Fuad, for your great insights. I believe we can move to the second question. And the second question is, firstly, could you please introduce us about your team and Metafluence game? What was your team's inspiration to come up with this project?
Yeah, I will answer this question. You can see our team members in our website, and the team is continuously growing, and we are trying to hunt the best talents, both in technical and marketing business parts. And what I can say that the board, our board consists of 6 people. This is me, Elvin, Fuad, the three of us already presented in this AMA, and we have Elshad, Wagif, and Manaf. Two of the board members, Wagif and Elshad, are mainly responsible for the product and tech development part, and the rest mainly with the business part. Fuad mainly on financial and legal part. Me, Elvin, and Manaf mainly dealing with them in the business part, marketing, sales, content, and other influencer relations and other directions. Yeah, what makes our team different and unique is that first thing that I can proudly share is that we have been working together more than 5 years, so we have long-standing working experience together, and we have been already uh, reached success serious milestones before, and we know what does the common success mean, and this is we can agree, we can negotiate, we can build strategies together. So this is I believe the most important thing in the teams. One of the main reasons why companies fail, because team members cannot stand together in the different lifestyle stages of the project or company. So I think we have proved that we can work together, and with each day our performance is getting better and better. In terms of the other team members, we have more than 30 people already in the company, and uh, we are equally growing the both the technical part and the business part. In technical part, we have blockchain developers, full stack developers, architecturers, land, urban planner, and other team members who are helping to build our ecosystem, to not only doing the technical part but also the ideation part. So how the product will look like, what problems product should solve, and other stuff. In terms of marketing, we are not and business part, business team members. We are not only uh, doing marketing, but we are feeding the product team with the necessary insights and the demands coming from the potential customers, from influencers, from the brands, and we actively take part in the product development of the company. So yeah, that's what I can say mainly, and we are very open to new talents. We are recruiting talents in both spheres, and we have both experienced people who can share their experience, and also the new fresh talents who are learning in the process, and we believe they are important, valuable team members. Also, we have our advisors, Jed, Saeed, even Chris. These four people for now. We are very selective with the advisors, and we are planning to onboard a few more. And we have also our influencer network. Influencer network. We also accept them as our team members, so they are not in the front, but they actively take part in promotion of Metafluence, in ideation part, and we are getting a lot of insights from them, and doing one-to-one interviews, getting their feedbacks, what we are doing, and yeah, really, they help us a lot, and we have already these influencers which we work long term already, long time, and we have deep relations, and they believe in our team, and they always share in new information, new insights with us. Yeah, mainly what I can say about the team.
Thank you, Emin, a lot for your great insights. So now it's the time to switch to the third question.
Mhm.
Which country market that Metafluence has been approaching so far? And please share with us your global market expansion strategy, if any, in the near future.
Yeah, actually, in crypto world, there is no like strict boundaries as in real world, which is one of the main problems I believe currently in the world. So there is a crypto nation, how we call it, and so these people belong to different countries, different nationalities. So we don't put strict borders, but of course we have some focus areas, focus regions, and uh, the first area is we call it global. So global, we do global marketing, which is mainly it is in English, and it is mainly driven uh, by different regions. I cannot say like the European region or Asian region. This is global marketing communication that we do for attracting crypto investors and influencers and our prospects. Also, we have regional focuses, which is uh, starting with the Asia. We are very interested in Asian market. We have local groups for Vietnam and India, and we have investors from Asia which provide us valuable inside information about Asian market. We are building relations with the Asian influencers as well. So Asia is one of our uh, core focus areas. On top, we really focus on the Middle East and Africa, and we have community members from Africa and Middle East. Our company is originally Middle East Middle East, Dubai born. So we have clients from Middle East and we have influencers from Middle East. So Middle East is our second priority market, and also, we are closely watching at the Latin America, and we are planning to make contents for Latin America market specific. Yeah, these three regions are actually all the regions are in. We don't like divide them, but these three regions that we are in our closed loop. Yes.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you a lot.
Uh-huh.
So let's move to the first question. So one of the core values of the NFT blockchain game is that much of the revenue is generated for investors or players in its ecosystem. Can you explain Metafluent's revenue accumulation structure or business model and the different mechanisms used to generate revenue?
Sure, I can take that question. And also, just to let everyone know, so we will be finalizing Twitter questions now, and then after those questions, we'll start answering the YouTube questions, depending on the time limit that we have. So regarding the revenue streams, basically the business model. So what we're thinking of in terms of the revenue streams, we can divide them into three parts. So those are transaction fees related to NFT sales or trades or affiliate commissions or event ticket sales. And then there is going to be Metafluence asset sales, such as MetaHut sales, land plot sales, which we already started, different sort of features and upgrades that we're planning in the future, such as if you have a MetaHut, you'll be able to upgrade it and add some sort of features into that. And then the third part of the revenue stream is going to be coming from the brand advertisement. So we are planning to work closely with brands in the sphere, because once you have this network of influencers engaged on a certain platform, you get actually a lot of brands attracted and a lot of brands interested. And in that context, we are planning to have different sort of billboards within our ecosystem for advertisement, and then open different sort of brand beta huts or stores, kind of more dedicated to brands and their own products. And then there is going to be also different sort of event sponsorships. Again, this is also related to advertisement. So again, like three revenue streams coming from transaction fees, Metafluence assets, and then advertisement side of things. Yeah, Nazreen, if you would like to move on to the next question, or I don't know if anyone else has.
Yeah, I think it would be better to move to the next question. Thank you a lot for your answer. So the last question from Twitter, don't you think that the API for staking Metro is too small compared to other projects? What isn't your take on it? Because some investors are complaining.
Okay. I think, yeah, I can also take that question, and then Fuad also can potentially add some comments. So regarding the API thing, like, so we have 36% API for 12 months, right? But it does start kind of from small number for 3 months, and then it goes higher. So we did a lot of research before implementing this model. And the thing with higher APYs is that they are good for the short term. So once you put like, I don't know, 100% APY or 200% APY, it's good for the short term, because you get a lot of people interested just because of the rewards, right? But in the long term, once the maturity occurs and once people start withdrawing the funds after the APY, and then you get a lot of sell pressure, and then basically the token price will decrease. So this is something, again, you have to manage very, very carefully in order to avoid the long-term sell pressure. And that's why after analyzing a lot of different projects, so this is the 85 percentages that we came up with, which we think is more, again, more sustainable in the long term, because we don't want like just a short-term price action and then long term, it's just going to go down and down because there is a bigger sell pressure. Fuad, I don't know if would you like to add some
Yeah,
thoughts
we
on
actually did a comprehensive analysis prior to offering our rate, and actually they're quite reasonable. I think investors should look long term. First of all, by observing our development and anticipating potential capital appreciation in the value of Meta, and then on the top of that, the earnings they can have over the year. So the rates are reasonable. We compared them to number of peers, and we think that it would be good if you also do your analysis. Of course, we welcome any comments, but at the end of the day, these rates are quite good, and we may come in the future with a more offering in that respect. But I think it's been very good offerings for now. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we do have this is basically it's staking volume one, which we can call it, and then we will have actually also different staking options planned, which we are thinking to tie NFTs. So it's not just going to be APYs in terms of Meta, but there's going to be like different sort of rewards involved in there aside from the basic Meta APYs. So now I think we already finished the Twitter questions. It looks like Nazreen's connection is getting lost from time to time, so I will actually continue and start reading the questions from the bottom on YouTube. So I have here Umit Karakash asking, will there be an intercommunal competition when the Metafluence city opens? So I'm not actually sure what do you mean. Like you mean internal competition in terms of like influencers, or you mean the outside competition in terms of different projects? So that part is actually not that clear. So I will move on to the next question. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think that part is clear? Like intercommunal competition when the Metafluence, So are we talking about the influencers here, or
I
different
think
projects?
it's potential competitions between different communities, but I think the answer is in the question. Once the city opens, it will open up different opportunities. So I think right now it might be premature, but as we progress, we can come back to discussion of
Yeah,
what potential
yeah,
competition could be there. Thanks.
yeah. And then we have Kaliru Kawai asking, many projects only focus on the price of their tokens in the market, but not on the utility of the tokens. And can your tokens deliver real value in the world? So this is actually a good question. And we, again, we thought of the token utility from the beginning, and the utility of the token uh, can be divided into, I would say, three parts. So first is related to purchases and transactions of the token utility, which is pretty straightforward. You purchase something, you transact with Meta, and you get different sort of incentives for doing it with Meta. And then you speak about the community incentives, such as, again, staking incentives, token holder incentives, which we are planning. And then there is going to be also affiliate incentives, activity incentives, which we're planning to, like, if you stay more active within our community, within our ecosystem, you will get some incentives. It could be in form of Meta, or it could be in form of different NFTs. And then also governance is something that we're also exploring and have on our roadmap, and that is related to different sort of governance power within the ecosystem once you hold Meta or even land plots. And that is more like applicable and more straightforward in terms of Meta clans, where you have different influencers coming together in groups up to 100 people, and they can actually vote within the clan to make certain decisions. And the more basically Meta token you hold, the bigger power you will have within that clan. So we are actually planning to expand it to whole ecosystem, but that is something probably a bit far on the roadmap. But in case of MetaClans, it's more straightforward for the governance. So yeah, so in terms of token utility, definitely this is something again we're exploring, and we are really committed to make the use of Meta not just not just a price action, but once you have the utility, it's much more different and it's much more organic. Um, yeah, and then we have a question coming. Kabeja, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing some names wrong. Uh, so the question is, what precautions and plans do you have for Metafluence if the crypto market suffers a long collapse, like 2 or 3 years? How exactly will you convince investors? So we already raised funds, so we actually raised 3 million already to actually use these funds in the long term, right? Uh, when it comes to the bear market, right? So there are some projects uh, uh, failing within bear market, right? Because they are not planning the use of funds correctly, or they are spending too much, and then they don't have much to spend on the team, and they have to make some adjustments, etc. So the question itself is it's a very good question, and it's also a question that I think every project needs to ask. In our case, we have a long-term financial plan to sustain our operations, even though if we have long-term bear market. So I would say the exact answer to that may vary, but short answer is it's just better planning. You have to better plan your resources and focus on most important things, and more about focus more on the product development, because there is a saying in the market that good projects they build, nevertheless the market conditions are whatever the market conditions are. And anyone else want to add any
Yeah,
comments?
yeah, Elvin, there is one interesting question. I think is the next question by Shanks. What's the strength of your team? We already discussed that. Many projects begin with a positive impression but are eventually abandoned. What distinguishes your project from others? Yeah, I think there are a few more questions in this regard, and what I can say that we planned all our steps in advance, so we rather do than talk. So we more prefer doing and executing and realizing rather than like making hype out of it. So our first priority is to launch our MVP on time and uh, attract the early adopters. And once this step is done successfully, we fine tune the product and we prove the concept that our concept really brings value. We have a lot of opportunities how to uh, enroll this product to large audiences. So we have our huge database of social media influencers, almost 1 million now, and we are continuing increasing and analyzing these influencers and getting their contact data. And so we once the MVP is done and early adopters are happy, we have a huge opportunity to spread the product. So we believe on this strategy, and we believe that while going step by step, doing for early adopters, then for the people who are interested in the metaverse, trying metaverse, which by the way is increasing by the time, and we plan in within 2 years reach the targets that we set in our roadmap. but it is changing also. So in roadmap we are making some change. We can do something even earlier. So up until now, all things are going by plan, and the things that Edwin already said in the start, the things that we are focused now is our top priorities: buying and selling the lands. Or after that, making the MVP, and after that, fully functioning the rooms, each NFT room, shopping room, and the shopping and the event room. Yeah, we believe that we have a good team in product, a good product development team, and good marketing team. So once we put both together, it is the guarantee of the success of any project.
Mhm. Thank you, man. Yeah, I would like to also move on to the next question, and then potentially finalize current today's AMA. So we have question. Let me move up. So we have a question from Crypto Goddess. Our question is, what are your plans on upcoming land sales, and how do you plan to organize the process? So as I mentioned earlier, so the plan is to have private sale right now, which we already started, and then later on we will be launching on multiple launch pads, our land sale and MetaHut sale combined. So there's going to be multiple launch pads, and then later on there is going to be a sale on our own platform. So you will be able to actually zoom in, select the land plots uh, you like, depending on their coordinates, depending on their positioning, if they are close to the city, if they are far away from the city, and then you will be able to purchase them if you like. So that is sort of a plan when it comes to the land sales.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is one more interesting question by Nguyen. About, do you plan to touch real life and product solutions with your project? I think it's very interesting question and challenging.
Mm.
We the our The shopping room is mainly will cover this aspect. So we plan people will be able to buy real products that they use in real life, uh, but in the virtual life. So the buying process will happen in the virtual life, but bought product will be physical products. So we will transfer e-commerce to the metaverse and enable influencers and brands to sell their own products in their virtual residences. This is how we plan to touch the real life things. But I believe there will be more ideas and strategies coming up related to some projects to with the location, some relations with the locations. But we don't have such things for now. But we will discuss this, and we will. I think we will come up with more ideas with the real life.
Also, yeah, I would like to also add a comment there. So the idea of metaverse is that the metaverse is a combination of the real and digital world, right? So
Yeah.
you have real people joining the virtual world and trying to sell digital and physical products sometimes, right? Because depending on different sort of metaverses, currently projects building, some metaverses are selling only digital products, some physical, some the combination. But in the future, this is obviously something that uh, what people envision is to have this whole metaverse, which is again consisted of different metaverses, to come together and touch the lives of people, right? The daily lives of people, just like internet does right now, right? So, but it's just going to be more immersive and more um, to give you more like a feeling of presence where you are, uh, in comparison to basically Web 2.0, where you just go to the website and you just don't actually feel and experience that feeling of a presence, right? So you're not feeling that you're actually in the store when you're shopping on Amazon, for example, right? But with Metaverse, the idea is that you will actually feel this and will have more, I would say, better experience. So So yeah.
I think more interesting questions coming, Edwin. I would not miss to answer them. The one thing is again sorry if I don't pronounce this right, asking, do you consider to support NFT artists with small audience and underrated content? Actually, this is one of our like main ideas, that we can we can transfer, we can we can open the opportunities for small artists, unnoticed artists, to create their own virtual spaces and uh, connect the influencer clans and get more exposure and shine in the new world. Even if they are not popular in the Web 2, we open the opportunities for them to shine in the Web 3. So this is actually the answer to the question of the Amanda, which is coming next. Yeah, we believe that there are thousands, millions of talents, undiscovered talents, which feel that entering the making building the fame in Web 2 is already very difficult. But if we create give the necessary tools and tools for these micro influencers, how we call them, to shine in the new ecosystem, a new way of expressing the talent, we believe that there is huge potential in the world. And yes, this is one of our targets, main targets. How we will do this? We will first thing is the motivation for any creator. If the creator is motivated enough, he will create more and attract the attention and create the content that will be applauded by the audience. And while bringing the brands into the game and making them sponsor the contents of the micro influencers, we believe we will, and many other mechanisms, we will open different ways for the micro influencers to monetize their talent and being active in Metafluence and being motivated by the rewards that they earn.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And also, Fuad, would you like to also pick a question and just to kind of
Yes, absolutely. Thanks. I'm scrolling through the different questions, and I see a lot of concerns about what's happening on the market, and there is some forecasts are expected. But the thing is, it's not about what will happen in a year or two. I mean, just remember, for those who've been around for last few years, after 2018, the market was not also very stable. But would you regret investing back 3 years ago? I don't think so. So the thing is, you have to look strategically into that. There is a certain cycle, and even if there is a fluctuation, which are always on different markets. If you look at the stock exchange, same thing. So we try to look at the price of the metal because it's certain indication of what happens on the market, how is the metal is in demand today. But what we try to see anticipates what will happen in the future. So our key focus is a confidence in our product, in our team, and the community we're building around. We try to focus on building the product, putting into the market, and the metal price will be follows that as well. So I think this is the one of the plans for us to make sure that by positioning a solid product, regardless the fluctuation that market may be experiencing or seem to be collapsing at some point, as long as we stay to our mission, which basically Emin has also described, that's basically our key strategy. And over time, as soon as the product becomes more filled with influencers and participants, it will be basically reflected as well.
But there is one question, last one about from long depth tray that I'm really looking forward to this project. I'm really impressed by its growth. Thank you. But my concern is I want to own a Meta Hut, but what opportunity can I get being a non-influencer? Uh, this is a very good question. We thought about this aspect. Yes, we build the MetaFluence mainly for influencers. This is an influencer-driven ecosystem, but any person who wants to be an owner of the digital properties in the MetaFluence can uh, get the benefits of it. So you can obtain acquire a land, then upgrade it to the Meta Hut, and then pivot to the rent. You can resell it to add for other to other influencers. So we, as you know, our spaces are limited, and the project is continuing to grow its awareness. So once after certain awareness, more influencers will try to own a space there, but it will not be. But the best places, the base spaces, will be already will have already some owners. So there will be second market available for the owners, and yes, you can make your profit on selling, reselling the Meta Huts or lands in the future, and you can give it to the rent as well.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I would like to also add a few things about that. So, again, our vision when it comes to the influencers is like anyone who has a social media account and have friends or followers is an influencer because that person can influence those followers, right? You may have 100 friends or you may have a million, but you have this ability to influence them. If you post something, if you tell them that, okay, this movie is good or this product is good, you're actually influencing them by telling them that, okay, by recommending that, okay, this thing is good or this thing is bad. So you are influencer. Like you are a small influencer, but you're still an influencer, right? So this is what we are what we have in mind when we're talking about influencers. But the thing why we are focusing on why we are focusing on the influencers and bigger influencers at the early stages is basically a user acquisition and the way that we are trying to attract more users. So if you start with regular users, it's really hard to acquire more users to your ecosystem, right? Because you will start basically with the regular users, and then uh, it's basically you will be risking a lot because it becomes a game where all these regular users will have to attract some other users to your platform. Yes, of course, once you have the utility, once you do marketing, yes, you will basically bring more users, but it's a lot harder when you don't focus on the user acquisition more. In our case, we focus on the influencers because they have large audiences. Once we onboard the influencers, their audiences tend to follow them. So you can think of a lot of different platforms such as Patreon, right? Or different other platforms focused on specifically influencers, right? Once the influencers see the value in the platform, they will actually invite all these users with them. So that is, we think, is the secret sauce to basically build bigger user community, the actual user community for your platform. So that's why we are focusing on the influencers first. But anyone who wants to own a Meta Hut or Landpod is welcome. And again, as you mentioned, anyone who has a social media account, probably everyone who not probably, certainly everyone who is watching this right now has a social media account, so you are considered an influencer. It could be you're a smaller one, but you're still an influencer. And then just to finalize, Arif mentions that thanks for not answering my question. So I will try to answer his question. So let me scroll down. So I see that, okay, how will influencers reach to their communities? Will you give free entrance to MetaFluence, or should they have tickets, etc., in order to enter and buy NFTs or participate in events? So that's a good question. And so what we are doing right now is we are giving away MetaHuts to different influencers who are, I would say, good influencers, right? The influencers with large communities or with, with quality audiences, right? So we're giving basically away these MetaHuts. We already gave away more than 80 MetaHuts to 80 influencers as of now, and we will be continuing to give away these MetaHuts for these influencers because, again, as I mentioned earlier, once you have these influencers, you're also accessing their communities too. And then when it comes to the how you will actually allow these communities to participate, so that's going to be up to the influencers. So the influencers will be able to either publicly do an event, so he or she may have a public event and invite all their audiences, or have a private event and sell the tickets in form of NFTs and have all these audiences joining them in their MetaHut. So yeah, I think we can wrap it up. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, Nazrin, yeah, would you like to
yeah, sure.
summarize it?
Sure. Thank you, Elvin. Actually, thank you to the team. Thank you for your great insights and answers. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the community, to thank everyone who joined. Your questions have been very engaging and interesting. Thank you for your participation. We'll be rewarding best questions, and the winners will be answered in our Twitter. So make sure to follow our Twitter account and to check it regularly. Looking forward to see you in our next live sessions. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take care of you.